Right about now, there are just 2 weeks until Christmas. Eek! And you might be thinking, I need to get more customers into my store. I need to get more people to my website. This is my opportunity to maximize my sales. Well, in today's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, I'm going to tell you just how to do that. Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, where I, Selena Knight, share strategies, interview retail revolutionaries, and delve into the minds of e-commerce experts to help you grow a profitable, independent retail or e-commerce business. If you're stuck in a rut, or if you feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've overachieved all of the things that you've set out to and are wondering what to do next, or how do I even make this better? I know that you're going to love today's episode. If you're stuck in a rut, feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've achieved all of the things that you set out to and are wondering what next, or how do I even make this better, then I know that you're going to love today's episode. Hey there, and welcome to today's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast here in Sydney. It is a beautiful sunny day. It is actually very, very warm. In fact, it is so hot that you can probably hear in the background a kind of underlying bzzz noise. That is the cicadas, or as you guys in America call them, the cicadas. They have been going nuts from first thing in the morning until sometimes 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. They are so loud that here where I live, sometimes you have to close all of the doors just to be able to hear the television. Oh, they've just stopped. So if you hear that buzz in the background, it's not someone vacuuming. It is not anything untoward. It is just nature doing its thing. And even though I have all the windows closed and I have my acoustic little semicircle thing around my microphone, I know that they're loud because I can hear them through the microphone. Well, I guess technically I can hear them through my headphones, but the noise is coming from the microphone that is going to the headphones. You understand what I'm saying, right? So we're 2 weeks until Christmas, and just behind me, I know you can't see it, but just behind me on my cupboard that sits behind my office desk, I've laid out all the Christmas presents for my nieces and nephews. There are only 5 of them, so there's not that many. And I'm just working out those final things that I need to get. You know how it is, right? When you have kids or nieces and nephews, all those sorts of things, you always try and spend the same amount of money on each kid, but you also want it to look like you've bought around about the same amount of stuff. So there's always this constant battle between price versus volume, because kids are kids, right? They don't always know the price of everything. So I'm looking around going, oh, but that's an expensive thing, so I've got to get some little cheaper things. And sometimes I just throw, a little block of chocolate in there or a packet of biscuits, like something foodie, just to kind of make it look like it's a bit more bulky when I've spent more for a little thing. Because, my nieces and nephews are the same age as Lana, so 12, 13, 14, 15. All they really want is cash and gift cards. And I'm totally down for cash and gift cards, but I also like to give some presents as well. So I've thrown in some gift cards, but I've also got like earrings and little backpacks and notebooks and all those sorts of things. Which brings me to the fact that Ed and I do actually buy Christmas presents for each other. And he is so hard to buy for because he's one of these people, I don't know if it's just a guy thing, but if he sees something, he just buys it and it gets delivered. That's it. So whenever he says, oh, I wouldn't mind a such and such, next thing I know, it's usually in the letterbox. So I don't even get a chance to buy it. So I've really struggled to get him some really cool things. We don't necessarily spend a lot of money on each other, but trying to find something different, especially when you've been together for 17 years now, that's a lot of Christmases and birthdays. We also have this added pressure that Ed's birthday is at the end of November and mine is at the beginning of January. So you're struggling between Christmas presents and birthday presents. And inevitably, you get the, what do you want for Christmas question? And I never have a list. I love the surprises. Maybe I just feel like giving somebody a list is an obligation. I'm pretty easy to buy for. Get me some candles, get me some nail polish, get me a massage voucher, get me a car wash. I am a happy camper. But he is really, really difficult. I think I've done okay, and I won't say it out loud just in case he can hear as I'm recording this, but I think I've done okay. I actually had to give him one of his presents early because it was a tool belt and we've been building a new back deck, and it was driving me insane that he kept losing drill bits and screws and all the bits and pieces. And I was like, look, I bought you something for Christmas. I'm just going to give it to you now. So I did, and he was happy and I was happy, and it's been a lot more smooth sailing since then. But when you get these questions of what do you want for Christmas, I generally just, as things drop into my email inbox, I'll just forward it and go, oh, this would be great, this would be great, this would be great. And so today I did the same thing. I got an email from MacPack. So I'm kind of an outdoorsy person, and I love their fleece jumpers, but they are ridiculously expensive. And you know that I'm a bit of a tight ass. Like, value is my thing. Sometimes I'll pay more money for things. Sometimes I pay less. I think you can probably hear those cicadas have just gotten really loud again. But I forwarded it on because they were two for $100, so $50 each, men's and women's. And I was like, maybe you might want to buy one for yourself. You know, this is one of the things that I would be happy to get, even though it's the middle of summer here in Australia. I love these certain type of t-shirt type fleeces. So, you know, here's just another idea to put in the ideas bank if you're looking for some suggestions, which made me think about where we could be getting these, where we could be maximizing sales this close to Christmas. Because Christmas is a great time, the whole holiday period is a great time to get new customers. But getting new customers is expensive. We know that, right? You have to advertise, you have to market, you have to connect with your customers until they convert. Sure, there may be the odd customer who sees an ad and clicks, or sees something on your socials and clicks and buys, but generally, people have an interaction with you quite a few times, anything up to 20 times before they buy. So I thought today would be a great day to do an episode on maximizing our sales pillar by leveraging our customer pillar. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that there are 5 pillars of retail success: money, sales, customers, marketing, and impact. Now, when I work with clients and in my courses, I always get you to focus on one pillar for 90 days. And for most of you, that pillar right now is going to be sales. But it doesn't mean that you don't draw on other pillars to get to the goal, to achieve your goal. At any one time, to make more sales, you're going to have to look at money, you're going to have to look at marketing, you're going to have to look at your customers, but the outcome that you are focusing on when you do these other tasks is that ultimate goal. So your ultimate goal is sales. But today we're going to draw on your customer pillar. We're going to leverage that customer pillar to make more sales. So we're not trying to grow your customer database, because our focus isn't customers. When your focus is customers, it's about increasing your customer database, increasing or bettering the customer experience, when the whole focus is, the whole outcome is customer orientated. But in this case, our outcome is sales orientated. So we're going to leverage the customer pillar to make more sales. And this is how we're going to do it. Right now, there's a huge problem in many parts of the world where for too long, many physical stores, and we are going to be talking about physical and e-commerce in just a moment, but many physical stores have relied on local footfall to bring in new customers. But many places in the world are still in lockdown, or there are still restrictions, and customer numbers have dropped. There's less tourists, there's less locals out and about. And what I tend to find, and this is a generalization, is that physical stores that have e-commerce don't make a huge amount of effort to drive traffic online. It's kind of just there as a bonus. And for many pure play e-commerce stores, up until now, this Christmas, they're relying on those same pre-COVID marketing tactics, which just aren't working. They're relying on what they did last year to generate the same sales that they're going to do this year. And guys, the world has changed. I don't have to tell you that. So you can no longer be doing the same things to get more sales. But of course, everybody out there is fighting for consumer dollars, and retailers are wasting huge amounts of time and money and energy on marketing. But what I'm seeing is lots of discounting in an effort to try and get customers back to stores, and of course, to try and recoup some of the losses that COVID has created for so many retail and e-commerce businesses. But the fact is, overworked and underpaid shopkeepers are falling behind, and they're still blaming COVID, even just 2 weeks out till Christmas, for sales downturns, when actually, when I dug the stats out before I did this episode, discretionary spending has returned to normal in most places and is actually increased. Customers are literally spending more money this year than they did last year. But still, I'm seeing overworked and underpaid shopkeepers spending hours every day trying Facebook ads out, or you're trying all different types of Facebook ads out, or sending out flyers or ad hoc email campaigns that have absolutely no strategy in place, or just posting multiple times a day on as many social media channels as possible and just crossing their fingers and hoping that something will magically stick, like throwing everything at the wall and hoping something will stick. But the downside of this is you're running yourself into the ground, constantly trying to find new content, find things to post on social media, probably wasting a lot of money on ads that just don't convert because, and I can tell you because we run ads every single day, what worked even 6 months ago is not the same as what is working now. And so you end up finding yourself like your whole day is filled with scrambling around trying to do as many things as possible, because for most of you listening, it is you. You are solely responsible for getting either people in the door or people to your website because you manage the marketing. Even if you're outsourcing, say your ads or your social media, if you are acting as the marketing manager, then it's your job to get the people in the door. It's your job to get the people to the website. And then it's up to your staff or to your website to convert those customers. Now, the retail CEO, they have worked out that if you can understand when and why a customer buys from you, and you can communicate the right offer to them at the exact right time, then you end up with this constant stream of low cost, high ROI, totally engaged customers that come back again and again and love spending money with you. And I call these people your boomerang customers. And when they tell all their friends about you, we call them in our business your drum beaters. So they're going to tell everybody about you. They're going to get you more customers. And so today I'm going to share with you some strategies that I've been working with my one-on-one clients with. Did I just say with twice? But I've been working with my one-on-one clients to leverage their existing customers to make more money. So I'm going to throw a few examples into today's episode and show you just how easy it can be. So I'm going to give you the same information that I give them, and the sort of results that you can see when you take this information, you actually implement it, is someone like Stephanie. And you may have, if you're on Scale Your Store, you'll know who Stephanie is. But Stephanie she's in a little town. Her website works. It's not by her own admission, it's not the most amazing website, but it works. She posts pretty often on social media, but when she implemented these examples that I'm going to share with you, her conversion rate on her e-commerce store went up to 12.48%. That puts you in the top 1% of Shopify stores. 12.48% conversion rate. What would that do to your business if you could get your conversion rate up to 12%? Even if it's got nothing to do with your website, when your website is very basic at best. Now, of course, I can't reveal 14 years worth of knowledge and dozens of clients worth of information in just like the 35 minutes that we're going to be talking to here. But I do promise that I'll give you some great tips so that you can go and create, at a minimum, one perfect offer to get your customers spending within the next 7 days. So if that's okay with you, let's jump in. So now we're about to get into the strategy stuff. And this is the really powerful because I know where you guys are at. You're probably, like I was, juggling many hats and you're feeling like an underpaid business owner. And as I said, I've been there before. And when revenue was down, I did what most overworked and underpaid shopkeepers do when they want to make more money. They focus all their efforts on selling. Now, I still remember when La Nina, that was like in 2009, hit, it pretty much rained for 2 years straight here in Australia, which is not great when you have a baby shop. I ran store-wide sales, I posted on social media constantly, I letterbox dropped the local area, And on the days when a handful of people came in throughout the whole day, I was giving discounts to people who didn't even ask for them. And I'm sure some of the customers could smell desperation coming off me when times was tough. I was stressed out. I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, stressed out about money. I worked too many hours because I thought if I worked more, I would make more money. But the fact is that didn't happen. And it took me a while, but after a while I did realize that I couldn't keep doing what I was doing, right? Which is probably where you guys are at right now. What worked before isn't working now. Or you just know that this is the time you have, like the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, those post-Christmas sales, this is what you need to leverage. I knew I was spending way too much money on marketing and advertising, and it just wasn't making me money. Or it wasn't making me money in the places I was spending it. And I thought what I needed was more customers. But in fact, now with some hindsight and a lot of knowledge, what I really needed was more sales. And quite often, this is actually one of the triggers that tell me if sales are your money pillar that you should be working on. When people tell me, oh, if we just had more customers, it is never about getting more customers. It never is. That is not the pillar that you need to work on. It is usually that you need to get the customers that you have to spend more money, to get them to convert. So of course, the way to get more sales from your existing customers, to leverage your customers, is to give the right offer to the right person at the right time. Sounds so easy when you say it on a podcast, but in reality, it takes a little bit more effort. So I want to show you some ways or some tips, some strategies that you can use to see which one of these might work for your customers, because you can't be running the exact same ads to all of your customers. You can't offer the same incentive to buy to all of your customers. That's what big box stores do. And they can do it because they have the volume, they have the dollars to be spending on the marketing, and they have that broad spectrum of customers. But you guys have loyal customers, you have engaged customers. And so we need to be segmenting those customers so that they relate to the brand and they relate to the offer that you're going to be giving them. And look, I don't have to tell you, if you're making more sales, if you're making more money, it means you're going to be less stressed because you can hire people to do the things that stress you out. You can have a marketing person. You can hire more staff to work in the store so you don't have to be in the store. You can hire an e-commerce manager. You can go from being stressed out and overwhelmed to a retail CEO. You can step into that retail CEO right now, even if it feels like you don't have the money to hire those people. Being in a CEO role is so much more about mindset than anything else. And when you combine leadership with the right mindset and an actual strategy, then getting sales doesn't feel like you are pushing crap uphill. In fact, getting sales can be put almost on autopilot rather than this frenetic, harried team of people, and maybe that team is just you, who constantly feels like they're running behind on everything and trying to implement every latest idea and everything you listen to on a podcast or everything that you read about in a blog. You're trying to do all the things rather than just having a strategy and focusing on that one pillar. Remember, we're talking about customers, but we're focusing on sales. And when you do this focusing on one thing, I call it the retail breakthrough effect. This is the one thing that your competitors aren't doing, which leaves them struggling and keeps them as overworked, underpaid shopkeepers, doesn't matter if you're a virtual or physical shopkeeper, constantly fighting to get more customers, get more sales, get their message out there. Now, I did just mention that it is about giving the right offer to the right person at the right time, which means you need to know your customer journey. So I'm going to show you how to work out where in the customer buying journey your customers are. I feel like I just said customers 4,000 times. And how to craft offers and messaging that will get them coming back. And this step is important because while your competitors are burning through money trying to find new customers, you are leveraging what you already have. You are leveraging the people who want to buy from you And instead of investing countless days and hours, days, weeks of energy and money day in, day out and grinding yourself down into the ground, well, when you take on that CEO role and you step up and you take charge, you can give your customers that more personalized customer experience. And as a result, it's going to have them being the boomerangs and drum beaters, coming back again and again and telling all their friends about you. Now, I have talked about this on a previous podcast, but the first part of it is just mapping out where your customers are in that buying journey and how they interact with you. And when I do this with clients and other retail businesses, we usually take like 1 to 2 days. So this is not a 5-minute process, but you can kind of do a quick and dirty version of it by using your email database to create some segments. But essentially we have six phases. We've got attract, so you've got to find the customers. You've got catch, that's getting them. You've got connect, which is where you connect with your customer. That's generally just before they buy, so they have to feel safe and comfortable that they're going to buy from you. Then you've got convert, obviously. That's the important part where they give you their money. And then you have the boomerangs and the drum beaters. So what's that? 5, 6. Yeah, I was right, 6. So you have those different stages. And as I said, you can do this by going into your point of sale, going into your email service provider, and just mapping out where people are in their customer journey. Now, here is a really important piece of advice. Your drum beaters may not be your highest spenders. What they are is your best traffic drivers. So you might have to do a bit of digging to find those ones. And you probably know who they are anyway. They're the ones who are always commenting, who are always tagging their friends. And what I can tell you is that most of your competition, they're focusing on those first 4 stages right now. Attract, catch, connect, convert. And that's costing an awful lot of money. So the smart thing for you to do, the easiest way, the highest ROI you can do right now in this lead up to Christmas is focus on the boomerangs and the drum beaters. That's what the retail CEO is smart enough to realize right now. Your boomerangs and drum beaters are craving happiness. They want to be giving gifts. They want to be buying. They want to be sharing the love around, sharing the wealth, and they're just looking for someone to give it to them. So let's make that store yours. Okay, boomerang and drum beaters. To be able to craft the offers and the messaging that will get them back to your store and spending, doesn't matter if it's online or in person, there are a few key things we need to take into consideration, because when you nail these, customers will be handing over those credit cards quicker than you can whip out your EFTPOS machine. So let's walk through the 4 strategies and I'll give you some examples of how you could implement them in your retail or e-commerce business. The first thing we need to look at, and it's probably the biggest mistake I see retailers making, is they don't look at what customers value. And sure, this could be things like sustainability or ethical manufacturing, but your boomerangs and drum beaters, they've already built that connection. They already know that you're eco and sustainable and you manufacture ethically, all those sorts of things. When we talk about value for this group, what we're talking about are those drivers that will get them past the buying barrier. And right now, lots of people are discounting because they're desperate. They want to make as much money as they can in the lead up to Christmas. But I don't want you falling into a race to the bottom. So I want you to think about what you can do to offer value instead of a discount. Now, those overworked and underpaid retailers still think that the only thing that motivates their customers is discounting. But really, those aren't the type of customers that you want right now. The ones that only shop with you because something's cheap, they've got no loyalty. The retail CEO knows that when you understand what motivated your customers to buy from you, you can craft campaigns where those customers don't feel cheap and they do shop with you. These are the customers that fill your soul and your bank account. Now, maybe you already have some ideas, but if you don't, I want to give you a few examples that you could use right now to create some marketing campaigns that are going to get seen and heard, and most importantly, get those boomerangs and drum beaters whipping out their credit cards and spending money with you. Now, the next thing I want you to consider is What is the problem that you could solve? Now, this is such a marketing question, but realistically, most people who are listening probably can't answer that question. There are things that we would ordinarily do that we can't right now. So my next door neighbor works in the city, and she used to go to the big shopping mall at Westfield for lunch every day, and she would generally pop into Zara or H&M while she was at work in her lunch hour. And she was telling me that she has hardly bought anything for months. She's still working from home. They don't have to go back into the office. She is craving shopping trips. So she has been going to our local mall, but she doesn't necessarily like walking around the mall for hours. I'm totally up there with her. I just want to get in and get out. I'm still a little bit about being around lots of people. And I know that for many of you in other countries, you still can't do a lot of shopping in big malls. So I want you to think about offers that you could create that customers can't get enough of. And one of the things that I love to, as a go-to, because a lot of the businesses that I work with are fashion businesses, are personalized style consults. I actually love this. You could do this for any type of business. You could do this for homewares. You could do this for fashion. You could do shoes. Personalized styling sessions, just personalized consultations. And here in Australia, we have a company called Bird's Nest who actually do this as part of their business model. So you can actually book a consultation, you book a dressing room, and you can have all the clothes there ready for you to try on, and you can also request some suggestions. So you're in and out and you've got that personalized service. So I want you to be thinking about what is a problem that you could solve. And we've seen this a lot with things like curbside collection and click and collect, but let's think outside the box. What do your customers need where you could just tweak the way that you do business right now to give that to them, to solve that problem for them? So the next thing I want you to consider is, what are they missing in their life right now? And I know we are missing a lot of stuff. And if you ask anyone, I'm sure you'll get answers like, I miss Friday night drinks. I miss going on holidays. I miss the sun. I miss hanging out with my friends. But what most people are craving right now is connection. Our lives are filled with Zoom. Like, talking to a real person is exciting. And your customers are probably used to being surrounded by people. They miss the water cooler talk at work. They miss popping out for lunch. They miss going on holidays. They miss everything that we used to have pre-COVID. We are looking for an excuse, any excuse, to meet up with our friends somewhere safe. So when you work out what people are missing in their life, and it could be something as that, it's just the connection, you can craft your message to speak directly to the emotion that they're feeling. That was really important, so I'm just going to say it again. When you work out what people are missing, you can craft your message to speak directly to the emotion that they're feeling. And when you do that, you get that connection, and they will be jumping to get on your store. They'll be jumping to buy from you because you get them. So capitalize on that. Perhaps you could encourage your customers to bring a friend. But you can't just say, hey, bring a friend and come to our store, right? You've got to have some kind of motivator and offer, one that is a really high perceived value. And service industries have been great at leveraging this, but for some reason, retailers don't. So you can quite often see things like hairdressers and nail bars say, bring a friend and save 20%. How could you leverage something like that in your store? Book a consultation with a friend and get a free gift. I actually don't like discounting. You probably know that already. I love free gifts. I love value. Customers love getting little bonuses. So the next thing I want you to think about is, how are they feeling? Now, this is going to be different where you are. Here in Sydney, we are pretty free at the moment. We can now have gatherings outside up to 100 people. We can go to visit our friends. We can do our shopping without masks on. But I know that that's not necessarily the case everywhere. So how are your customers feeling, and how could you change that feeling? Like, I don't know about you, but even now I'm still looking for anything that gets my endorphins rushing. And I know I'm not the only one. It doesn't matter if that is chocolate or having a glass of wine with a friend, but I'm nervous about crowds. And even though I'm sure you've heard this a bazillion times, you have to make sure that you're overcoming that feeling of apprehension that we talked about earlier. So how are they feeling, but how can you change that feeling? And it could be something as simple are sending out an email saying, we actually love to buy gifts for people. The gift is in the giving rather than the receiving. I know I much prefer to buy and give gifts than I do to receive them. So just on that point, one thing I have noticed is we're all a little bit irky and trolly. Okay, there's a lot of mean and nasty things going on Facebook comments, on Facebook ads, and a lot of people commenting on social media posts. So making sure that your offer imagery is on point with your message right now. So what used to work is probably not going to work for you. I don't know about you, but if I see two people standing next to each other that clearly are not from the same family in like a social media post or in a like brand image, I instantly think, well, that's old. And what are they doing standing so close together? So understanding how your customer feels allows you to work out what the exact opposite would be, right? So the opposite of stressed is relaxed. The opposite of nervous is calm or confident. So how can you create the opposite and add that into your offer and into your messaging? And my last step to crafting the right offer for the right person at the right time is build a brand, not just a store. And this is my favorite because when you get it right, customers don't even have to be asked to come into your store, right? They don't have to be asked to go to your website. There's a reason people will queue for hours or even days for brands like Apple and Sephora. And when you get your messaging right, customers fall over themselves to align themselves with your brand. Now, you can bang on all you like about how great your store is and how fantastic your products are, but the simple fact is customers believe other people more than they believe you. They will believe a random stranger before they believe you. So the last strategy that I'm going to share with you actually leverages the boomerangs and the drum beaters. It's building the connection and relatability, and it doesn't have to fall on your shoulders. When you bring your boomerangs and drum beaters on board, not only will it help build connection, but you're also going to find that they become even more staunch advocates of your store. It kind of relates back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When you give them the status to help other people buy, they gain respect. And that's one of the things we all want. We want to be respected. So how are you leveraging your boomerangs and drum beaters? Are you asking them to give you reviews? Are you asking them to be contributors? Are you asking them to write a, say, product review? As I said, people are going to believe other people before they believe you. So how can we take those people? In fact, we did a podcast just recently about leveraging your existing customers. I think that was like 4 or 5 episodes ago with Neil Schaefer. It was called the Anti-Influencer Marketing Strategy. And we talked all about leveraging those boomerangs and drum beaters to make more sales. So now you have an understanding of the fastest and cheapest way with the highest ROI to get customers back and to leverage your customers in this lead up, or the end. It's not even a lead up anymore, the end of this holiday period. And it's to focus on your boomerangs and drum beaters and know the offer that is going to leverage them right now. And already we're seeing that the retail bar has been raised exponentially. Customer expectations of, I just bashed my glasses on the microphone. Customer expectations of relatability and personalization and this seamless omni-channel experience. Customers are expecting that. It's a given rather than something that can only be achieved by big box stores. And one of the easiest ways to get that connection and that relatability is when the messages that you're sending out go to the right people. So customer database segmentation and messaging is key right now. This is what you should be spending your time on. Everything I've just talked about is going to fall flat if you are just blasting out the same message to all of your customers rather than segmenting out those boomerangs and drum beaters and creating special offers for them. So yes, you are going to have to do the segmentation. You are going to have to create your own copy. You are going to have to craft the Facebook and Instagram ads, and you're going to have to create the workflows and processes. You're going to have to create those things. But the great news is when you know which pillar you're focusing on, you know where to leverage your resources. You know where to allocate your resources. And if it's not something that you can do in-house, find someone who can do that thing for you. We do this in our business, in our agency business. We can take email marketing completely off your plate. From building out the flows, writing out your emails, crafting the offers, making the images. That is a service that we offer every single month. You will never have to do email again. But the last thing I want to leave you with is if you are not putting processes together to streamline that pillar that you're going to focus on and to automate wherever you can, or to outsource wherever you can, to delegate wherever you can, you're going to end up right back where you are now, spending money to find new customers, working yourself into the ground and not leveraging what you have. You've already put so much time and effort to get these customers. So let's focus on them. Let's leverage those customers to make you more sales, but also to build your brand and to build that loyalty. Phew, there was a lot in that one, wasn't there? Okay, so we are just 2 weeks out from Christmas. And I'm guessing there's a pretty good chance that you are probably inundated with customer inquiries and customer changes of orders and potentially even customer returns. And let's be honest, if you're in business, there's going to be a lot of customer returns probably post-Christmas. So next week, stay tuned because I'm bringing the gorgeous Jackie on from Gorgeous to talk about how you can streamline and even automate some of those questions, queries, and returns that you get from your customers. I'll see you next week. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. You can find all of the show notes over at selinaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selinaknight.com and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.